it never dawned on him. This is what's just mind-boggling to me. It never dawned on him that if he was making $10,000 a month, using, wearing, and talking, that if he kept doing it, he could maybe make $20,000 a month. He thought he had to start another business to do it. And guess what ended up happening? He went bankrupt with that company. And over the next 3 years, his royalty override checks, not working, paid off his bankruptcy. And today he just places his $2,000 orders to get his $8,000 check every single month for the last 11 years. And you know what still has not dawned on him? That the way to get to $20,000 a month is not going out and selling boats like he's doing today in the worst time in the history of selling boats. It still hasn't dawned on him that if he just used the products, wore the button, and talked to people, that he could make 20 grand a month. Unbelievable. So what I'm trying to say to you, how many of you like to do better in life when you leave here? How many of you would like to live the good life and have really outrageous incomes? And whatever that means to you. For some of you, that means $5,000 a month. For some of you, that means $8,000. I'll tell you what an outrageous life means to most of you. If you could just double the amount of money that you're making right this moment, that would be fairly outrageous, wouldn't it? Right? How do you make double what you're making right now? By being consistent, by not getting sidetracked, by not letting people to get you off target, not listening to the negativity of any of your relatives, your distributors, or whatever. Don't let people get you off track. There's going to be a lot of people that try to get you off track when you leave this weekend. You're going to have people that make fun of you, and you're going to have it. Anybody ever made fun of any of you in this room here? What, are you out of your mind to wear that button? What are you guys, some kind of guru, what are you, some kind of button people? Hey? Right? And people say, what are you getting joined in some kind of cult? You walk in with your button on to one of your relatives. They go, what, did you join the Moonies? What's the deal over here? Hey? Yeah. Okay. I remember Alan Lorenz, he told us one of these deals. I love the story where his brother, who was very wealthy, said, listen, if you wear that button to lunch with me, Alan, you might as well dine alone. And he said, I think I shall. I can guarantee you one thing, when Alan Lorenz brings that $700,000 check home, his brother will call him up on the phone and say, Alan, would you like to go to lunch? So, hey, listen, there's going to be some things that get you off track. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be some people that make some fun of you, but let me tell you what's worth it. All the people that make fun of you, even the people that you get on the products, it's when they call you back and say, hey, listen, I thought you were totally out of your mind when you had that button on and you stopped me in the shopping center and all this kind of stuff. I thought you were some kind of nut. But let me tell you something, man. I got onto those products, and it's only been 3 days, and I feel completely different. And then when they start losing 10 or 15 pounds, and all of a sudden their husband stops laughing at them and says, honey, I thought that stuff was pretty crazy you were drinking the other day and taking those tablets, but you're looking pretty good, baby. You know what I'm saying? And pretty soon it's 25 pounds and 50 pounds, and pretty soon the husband's using the product, and pretty soon the children are getting excited about how mommy's looking, because you know how the children are every time mommy goes on a diet. No, mommy, no, don't go on another diet again. Every single time you start losing weight, you get mean, cranky, and kick the little dog Muffy, right? And the family's losing weight, and pretty soon they're buying new clothes, and they're looking beautiful, and their attitudes are strong, and pretty soon the next door neighbors are trying the product, and pretty soon everybody on the block is doing it, and pretty soon everybody's wearing their buttons, and pretty soon you see the nice, beautiful family with the little stylish chubettes up on stage getting their president's team pin 10 months and 17 days from now. That's what it's about, okay? That's what it's truly about. We had a guy here over this weekend that was very interesting for me. And I've slowly kept recruiting people over the years that have just totally thought we were nuts, and you get them after a while. You tell them, hey, it's great, it's incredible, it's unbelievable. There's people I've told that to 900 times, and they still didn't get it. We finally got this guy. Anybody ever heard of Farrah Fawcett? Linda Evans, right? The Bionic Woman lady, all those people, right? There was one person that was behind all those people, this guy, Jay Bernstein. He was the one that made them. He was the one that promoted them. He was the one that got the hairstyles. He was the one that did everything, right? And for all these years, he's always heard about Herbalife. He's always heard that we're incredible. He's always heard that we're fantastic. And this is the first time he's ever been to Extravaganza. After 11 years, we've known this guy, right? And he just could not believe it. He was just absolutely 100% blown away. And it's always that way for everybody. Everybody who thinks it's crazy, everybody who thinks that it's just a joke, there's a couple of things that really get them excited. The first one is always what? Getting them on the products, okay? Now, we could never get this guy onto the products. I guarantee you after the last couple of days, he's definitely on the products, okay, from seeing all the people that are out here. Now, I don't have any idea if he's ever going to do the business or not, okay, but there's a high likelihood that he's going to, okay, after seeing what he's been down here. And it's just, you keep telling the story, you keep getting people on the product, and you do the best you can. I don't have all the magical answers, gang. I don't, okay? I do know this. The first thing you got to do is you got to work on your attitude. People make fun of you, who cares, okay? Somebody says it's not the right thing, hey, you got to know it's the right thing in your heart. And you can only know that by using the products and getting people on the products and having them make comments back to you on how incredible this is. The only way you're going to know that is by being active and starting to make some money yourself and get someone else who starts making some money, and they come to you and say, you know something, I hated my job at IBM, and this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Thank you so much. You got to know that in your heart, gang. And you've got to convince yourself. You got to work on yourself every single day. And if you'll get up every morning and you'll work on your own self, because that's your biggest job in Herbalife, okay? You can conquer anything in your life if you want to, if you just keep working on yourself. There's going to be things that happen to you all day long that try to get you sidetracked. There's going to be people that tell you no, and you're going to get sidetracked. But you got one or two choices when you get sidetracked. You can either say, oh, poor, miserable me. Why does it always have to happen to me? And you can keep whining, and you can keep complaining, and you can keep being miserable, or you can say, I'm going to make the best out of it I possibly can, and go back and talk with more enthusiasm to the next person, just like you did. You know how enthusiastic you are when you make 10 sales? It's easy to be excited then, right? Here's when you got real leadership, is when 10 people have said no, and you don't feel good, and 5 of your people have dropped out on you, okay? And someone's making fun of you, and things aren't going right, and 2 straight weeks you've worked till midnight every single night, and the whole thing's falling apart on you. When you can pitch and get your attitude, I gotta say this one, and you faking it till you make it. By acting maybe mentally that it's going to happen. By acting like your best presentation is going to happen, like you just made 10 sales. That's when you got some true leadership. Okay? there's been some real serious times in Herbalife for me when I felt like saying, hey, that's the end of the deal, okay? Why would it be worth it for me to keep doing this, okay? There's been plenty of times for me like that in Herbalife, okay? When I had my very first meeting and I had the baggie full of powder and I was telling my best friends, and let me tell you something, these guys definitely hurt my feelings. They had been in 2 companies with me that had gone under. They knew I was serious about weight loss. They knew that's all I wanted to do because of what happened to my mom. And when I came to them, I was legitimately asking for their help. I said, listen, you guys, no kidding, man. These other companies went out on us, but we're going to do this thing, and it's going to happen, and it's going to be the most incredible thing that ever happened to us, okay? And those guys were all flakes, and they said, hey, look it, this is a joke. Nothing's going to happen. You don't think that those guys didn't hurt my feelings? And I didn't think to myself, my goodness, who am I going to go to now after everybody I was counting on to get me started just said that this is a miserable joke? You don't think the next morning I had to wake up and say, my goodness, now what am I going to do? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I started passing out flyers, and I started calling people up out of the telephone book. I started going into the newspapers, and nobody told me this stuff. I just was desperate. I said, I'm going to make it no matter what. And I got the telephone book out, and I started calling people out of the telephone book, and I made up little excuses to talk to them, okay? And then I would call people right out of the newspapers that needed jobs, and I'd say, listen, I'd call Joe in there. He says he was a gardener. I said, Joe, I understand you're looking for a gardening job. He said, yes, I am. I said, listen, Joe, I don't need anybody to mow my lawn. How would you like to make an extra $2,000 a month over and above your present income? Would you be interested in taking a look at it? He said, yeah, I would. I said, listen, there's a meeting tonight. Come on down. I set up a little stand on the corner on Robertson Boulevard. Cost me about $10, this little stand. And I was actually selling little Dixie cup milkshakes out on the street corner for 50 cents at a time just to get people to try my product back then. Okay? Here's what you do when it's disappointing. Here's what you do when it doesn't look like it's going to work. Here's what you do. You do what it takes. That's what you do. See, I didn't start with a $50 distributor kit with the attitude, I wonder if this is going to work. I hope it's going to happen. No way. My entire life was dependent on whether it was going to work for me in Herbalife. And regardless of what my relatives said, or what my friends said, or what the circumstances were, by golly, I was going to make it, period. And when you got that kind of attitude, there's nobody that can get you down. There's nothing that can get in your way. And let me tell you what people want that are around you. They want leadership. They want someone who knows that they're going to make it. They want someone who says, by golly, I'm going to make it no matter what. Do you want in or do you want out? And I'll tell you what, pretty soon there was 3 or 4 people following me. And pretty soon there was 6 and 7 people following me. And pretty soon there was 20 people following me. And my goodness, after this last couple of days, look at what's happening. And let me tell you something. Couple, 2 or 3 years from now, we're not going to be able to have enough stadiums in the United States to hold people to make this thing go.